the age of 19 years old, I was, many would say unfortunate, but I would say I was very fortunate to become a mom of a beautiful girl called Nyanchama. I think you are entirely what you think. They say success is not an overnight action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I do not think that success is a destination as well. We are largely a product of how we were raised. For parents, what I would say is that even as parents, regardless of where you've come from and you're raising children, we continuously have to be in an unlearning and learning journey. Do not get attached to relationships that do not have value. You have to know when your friendship or your relationship season is over and you move to the next one. Yeah. This does not apply to marriage, unfortunately. So that's why you have to take your time before you get into marriage.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining us from, and welcome to Authentic by Magoma, another episode of Boldly and Intentionally, a video series that we started this year to transform lives through content. And today's tagline is, you become what you think about. And to decipher this tagline or this quote, we have a very special guest who I've had the honor of observing transform her life. And she's currently in her 40s. So that means that she has lived life enough to tell us things that are valuable, and not just valuable, but truthful. Because tunaambiwa kuishi kwingi, kuona mengi. Yeah? So let me tell you guys, this guest is amazing. She is called Lynette Magoma Omwange, aka my mother. So we are home right now. And this episode has been informed, or rather is informed, by the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, the book by Stephen Covey that I had mentioned last week on the first episode. So this particular episode is circled around the 7th habit, which is sharpen the saw. So what sharpened the saw? Oh Lord, Christine. So guys, what sharpen the saw means basically is, how can we transform ourselves so that we can transform everything else around us? So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Lynette Magoma Omwange, aka Mommy.
Hi, my baby.
Hi, my mother.
Thank you for inviting me.
Karibu, karibu. 3 years I have been doing content, and finally we have you here today.
Yes.
10 years later.
10 years later, I am here.
You're finally here.
Grateful. I have been supporting you behind the scenes though.
Yeah, you
know that I've been your champion.
And clearly Wilson Airport is also supporting me. You can hear the background noise.
Yes. We embrace, integrate everything that is around us. That's life.
All of them. So, is it true that you become what you think about from your own perspective?
I think you are entirely what you think.
Really?
Your mind is everything. Your thought process is everything. Your transformation comes from your thought process. And I don't know if there's any other words that I can put it in. All the other things and all the other factors in life are dependent on what you think first. Before you action, you have to think about that action. As you're actioning, you're thinking about the action.
Yeah, I really like that. You've said before, you become what you think about first. So meaning there's another step that we're supposed to take. You know, there's a trend of manifestation.
Manifesting is good, but manifesting is not enough.
Really?
Manifesting is mainly manifesting because you're thinking. After the manifestation, then you also need to take action. Because if you do not take action, it just stays at manifesting.
Okay, so I have told people that I've seen you transform your life, but generally guys do not know you here. So what is your story? Labda kuna vitu sijui hata mimi. Leo ndo siku.
Niulize maswali, nipo hapa. I will answer all your questions. Where do you want me to start? I mean, I am in my fabulous 40s.
Mm-hmm.
And I have gone through all stages of life. You know, I was once a child, I became a teenager, I became a mom, and here I am as a grown woman and still journeying in life. I wouldn't say I have reached, but as it is said, the fabulous 40s are really an age where you come to full realization of your full potential. I've been through where you are, the trial 20s.
True.
And all you do is today I want this, tomorrow I want the other one. And that was the journey that I had to walk in my 20s. And then, I've been through the stages of the 30s, and they're called the turbulent 30s, as Dr. Patricia Morugami calls them. And so I went through all the tribulations, like down, up. And then in my 40s, still partly in my discovery journey, because I do not think that I would say I have arrived. But I think one thing that I can feel at this point of my life is there's some level of being steady. There's clarity. But that clarity didn't just come in one day.
Yeah.
I had to seek clarity. So to answer your question in terms of telling you my journey, I was once born a young girl of a mother and father.
Like me.
Like you. I went to school. And then at the age of 19 years old, I was, many would say unfortunate, but I would say I was very fortunate to become a mom of a beautiful girl called Nyanchama. And I think looking back before 19, there's not so much that I can recall about my life. But then becoming a mom and holding you that day that I held you in my hands at 19 years old, I was like, this is really a gift. And I felt so much love for you. But I also think that being a mom at that early age put me in a different phase. And that doesn't mean that people who don't become moms at an early age doesn't put them in a different position. I do believe that my path in life was ordered by God. And while it was very confusing at that time and for many, many, many years, because of course at 19, truly you are still a teen, Going through high school, one of the things that for me was a really big focus is that I used to admire people who went to college. So there was part of me that every day I would see, and going to college, we used to have bags that you carry on one side. They're like laptop bags, you carry them. So every time I would pass through the University of Nairobi or other institutions, I would see students carrying those bags. So there was part of me that was really, really looking forward to joining college and feeling independent and feeling all grown up. But then here I am, I find myself being a mother at the age of 19, and truly I do not know what my life is about next. However, I want to truly say that, my mom at that point did not want to let go. She was, of course, not happy with me. My father would pass one path, I'd go to the other side. So we could not even talk. I remember you crying from the bedroom when I was at home, and my dad would be passing there and saying, kuna mtoto analia hapa. And he would say it in so much anger. But every time he would see you, he was like, all smiles, and you could see how happy he was to be called a grandfather. But then from my end, I think, then having that second chance, and I do believe that we always have our second chances everywhere, in everything we do, whether it's in a job, it's in life, it's, in a relationship, there's always a second chance that you're gonna get.
Yeah.
So I think for me, the second chance that I got was then, that one day that I woke up and my mom was like, okay, you need to get to college. And you were hardly 2 months old, but she was like, you need to get to college and you can't just stay here at home. So we got out, we went, and I started my journey in college. Now, to tell you the story, there were so many conditions that I was given in this going to college. First, of course, I had to be a day scholar because now I was a mom. I have to take care of my baby. But before I go to class in the morning, I have to make sure that I leave food for you. I have to wake up in the morning. There are very many of my friends who will be watching these videos who remember the story of the cow. So I had to milk the cow, and I had to clean, because then by the time I was becoming a mom, I didn't have the support of being fortunate to have diapers.
Yeah.
So you basically grew up on napkins. Pole sana. So lazima nifue nappy. I've washed the nappies, so everything is ready, and then I head to college. And again, as part of the punishment, because my dad would use the same route that I would use to go to college. My father would just get in his car and off he drives. Me meaning pamane na hali yangu. I would have to walk, as you know, where I grew up, about 5 to 6 kilometers to where you find the bus stop.
Yeah.
Then take you matatu, and then get to college, do the day study, and then have to come back home. And when I come back home, then nappies would be waiting for me, and my assignments were there. I would have to take my assignments and everything. But I navigated it. I think God gave me the energy. I was such a determined, and as we say, we are what we think. I still admired waking up in the morning and going to college.
Yeah.
So there was part of me that was becoming, despite what was on the side. And I was a mom, and I would have to get to college. But on the other hand, there was still part of me that was, achieving what I had truly admired when I was in high school. Yeah, so I completed college, and then started off work life. And then, somehow started to educate myself in terms of career progression.
Yeah.
Again, this is because, now there was you that my parents somehow have to take care of, and then there's me. So, chapa hustle. Amuka, chapa hustle. So that's how I started my work life. But then, of course, I had to take again evening classes as I was working. I was fortunate to, to get jobs. And again, I would say fortunate in quotes, because I did the work. I did put out the work.
Yeah.
I applied for positions. I walked into offices like every other person will tell you their story about starting off careers. It wasn't anything to do with connections.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have to wake up in the morning, make applications, sit, read newspapers, and make applications.
Google.
Google banner. I had an email though. But we didn't make applications through email.
Online.
No, we did not make applications through email. We are talking about 25 years or thereabout. Yeah, or 20 years and about ago. Applications online were not there. So we had to write. You have to write and take your applications to the post office. There was ability to use email, but it wasn't necessarily seen as a formal way of applications like now. You can apply for jobs. And they're still government institutions even today still require you to drop physical applications. So we wouldn't say that we completely transitioned, even though it might sound like it's many years ago. Yeah.
That is my age. So, yeah. I mean, your journey sounds, which I have observed to some extent, since I can remember at my earliest age. Obviously, I can't remember crying and my grandfather telling me, kuna mtoto analia. But for the better part of what I have observed, your life has panned out to be one of intentionality, where I want ABCD, but it will not happen overnight, but you still work towards it. Because we, especially my generation, being Gen Z, we live in a generation where majority of us, me included sometimes, because you always have to go like, be patient, it's gonna come. We can be very impatient because you try out something, tunashika, tunaguza kidogo, and then, you want to leave it. Or we're not bold enough to, it's easy to think about something and say that I want ABCD, but then people in my generation hardly ever see it through.
Yeah.
You think about it, but you don't have that desire. What Napoleon Hill calls a burning desire.
Yeah.
To you, what can be done, and how can parents contribute towards ensuring that they nurture a burning desire or that resilience in their children?
I think that they say success is not an overnight action. Yeah. And I do not think that success is a destination as well. So there is a journey that you have to take. And that journey can only happen when you have that burning desire. Where do you want to be? Is the first question you ask yourself. And when you have that burning desire, it really has to push you out of your comfort zone for you to take action. So for instance, you're looking for a job. And what you're thinking is, ma'am, but you know some people. Can't you talk to those people to give me a job? That is not how life works. you know. I might be able to say a word in a circle of friends, of colleagues. By the way, I have my daughter, she's completed college and she's looking for opportunities. But beyond that, if somebody says, oh, we have this opening in my organization, it really has to take you. And for you to be able to get that job, you have to do the work. You have to sit down, you have to make an application. So nothing comes in just by luck. And it's true, I see that your generation truly, you have a lot of wanting things done now. It's a good thing, but also one thing I keep saying is that it's not a sprint. This is a marathon. You have to go slowly by slowly. You have to walk the stairs until you get to the top of where you want. So I do think that my journey really has been one of those ones that I know where I want to get. And what I have done is that I have continuously worked on myself. I have continuously sought help from mentors. I have invested in coaching. I have looked and sought for help. And again, just to refer to Dr. Patricia, as she says, everything that you desire in this world, somebody has written about it. There's a book, there's podcasts, and there's someone you can talk to. So fortunately, we hardly need to reinvent. All you need to do is to go and look for that information and then use that information meaningfully to be able to take action. Now, there are people who have information, but they just don't do much about it.
Majority of people actually do have that.
So it's not the inadequacy of information. And I probably come from a generation where I would say there was a bit of limitation in terms of just seeking information. But in the global world where we live in today, all you need to do is go to YouTube. All you need to do is go to Google. And anything that you're seeking to get information about, you will get it. And again, you probably need to verify like sources, because also there are people who just said this a lot of ways. You keep saying, reminding us a lot of misinformation out there. So again, what you consume really needs to be information that can be helpful to you, that can put you to the next stage. So for me, I think you have to have that desire. You have to take the steps that are required to get somewhere. And I don't think there's a destination that you get into. What I wanted yesterday is not what I want today. And there's nothing wrong with that, because you will get what you want today. And again, if you get there and now you're like, okay, I am there, I've got it. What next? So you get the next burning desire, and then you take action on that next burning desire. And I believe that that's the life journey that we will continue to take. When I sit with my mother and father, I think because they are retired, my mom is always like, as for so long as we have food to eat, we are just okay.
That's the burning desire.
No, that's the burning desire. They have probably burnt. Now they're like, done. All we need, we have a roof, we have food to eat, And I mean, my mom has a lot of energy still. She's doing a lot of investments here and there, and she's still keeping herself busy. But truly, her burning desire is very different. So at every stage where we are in life, we have different burning desires. So your burning desire right now is very different from my burning desire. However, I think the danger is when you see you're a 20-year-old wanting things that 40 years old have, then there's a question mark. It doesn't mean that you can't be better than I am, but it does mean that there's some work that you have to put in. And we cannot be at the same level. When my age and my work that I have put out all the years, I would even question God, like, my God, this is actually a 20-year-old who's just coming in 2 years, they've gotten there, you know? So I do think that experience and time really is important, and we need to give ourselves time. We need to be patient about things. But we have to continuously put in the work.
I really like that. You mentioned that you have worked on yourself, and I mean, in this journey of transformation, majority of us are in the phase of working on ourselves, or rather desiring to work on ourselves. Like, it's there at the back of the mind, because many people struggle with showing up. You might know what you want, but showing up is the problem. So what does working on yourself look like in your books?
Working on myself in my books means that today I will wake up, I will be beaten down to the ground, but tomorrow I will still wake up. It's
refusing to quit on you.
It is refusing to quit on myself. It's not magical, you know. Challenges will be there, hurdles will be there, but again, in the whole process of you are what you think, when you choose that regardless of what I am encountering now, this is a sideshow, I will continue to focus on my purpose. Yeah, so staying focused on your purpose, waking up to it, and it could be your workmates, it could be your friends, it could be your supervisor, it could be your children, who at times are bringing you down and you're feeling like,
hey, talk to me direct.
What is it?
Kuna kitu nataka kusema.
Hapo. So it could be everything, you know. We encounter challenges every day. It could be your neighbor, it could be, you know, that person you probably even do not know.
Your jumuiya member.
It could be jumuiya member. Anything, you know. It could just be anybody that you encounter that tries to put you down. But so long as you decide to not to quit on yourself, I think you still continue to progress. You still continue to see your progress.
Yeah.
I do think that also one of the things that for me I have realized is that at times we are yearning so much about the big things that we refuse to appreciate the little things. Yeah.
It is I, guys.
Yeah. So we have to look at those little things that are happening around our lives. It's good to want big things. You know, you probably want to be a CEO of...
I want the Nobel Peace Prize.
You want the Nobel Peace Prize. For you to be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, you have to go through the process.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to be overnight. You know, the delayed gratification. One thing that I keep saying and I remind you is that you truly can do it.
Yeah.
It belongs to you. That you desire belongs to you. So it may not be today. It probably will not happen in 2 years' time. It probably will not happen in 5 years' time. But so long as you know your goal, you know your purpose, and you're continuing to pursue that, you will get there. Yeah.
So when I speak to you, I keep on saying that you are my accountability partner. You get me on track whenever I sleep, which I do, like a normal person in their child 20s. But I speak to some of my age mates, and there's a clear disconnect between parents and children, which I believe you and I have actively worked on.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that there's a perfect relationship here, but we are constantly engaging to see how can you support me, and as you say, how can I be a reverse mentor to you?
Yeah.
But then there's a disconnect. So what do you think the disconnect is between parents and children, and how can we fill this gap? Because guys who are like my age are always saying, hey, I can't talk to my folks about this, you know, like they can't. And for me, I'm always sitting there like,
it's true that I think every child will experience different parenting. As I always remind you and myself, is that the manual for being a good parent really does not exist. I think every parent sends out the right intentions in raising their children. We are largely a product of how we were raised. And so I do think that in the journey of being a parent, there's a lot that I sit back and I'm like, that is me being my mother, you know? But is being my mother the right thing? Yes. Yeah. Because lazima niwaamshe. Hakuna kulala kwa hii nyumba past a certain time. So there's also, I think, one thing that I encourage every parent out there, and even their children, is to do a lot of self-awareness. And I do think that without self-awareness, we truly cannot be able to appreciate the differences between us and our children. Our children need to remain independent. Your decisions need to remain independent, but guided by me as your parent. What my mother and father taught me was the best they could give me. As an adult, where I sit right now, I will make a lot of reflections about how would my mother have handled this? If it's my mom who was in this situation, how would my father have reacted to this?
Yeah.
But then I have to take the right decision, because I'm also raising children in a different generation, you know? So there are things that will not work because that's the way we were raised. So I do think that every parent would have to craft a style that works with their children. However, I think some of the standards is that you need to give an opportunity to your children to express themselves. That is to the parents. Now to the children. There is no parent who is raising you to fail. If your mother or father is raising you to fail, please reach out to Authentic by Magoma and let us have a conversation.
You have another mother here.
Because I do believe that what your parent is doing is the best that they can at that particular point. And there are so many things that affect the way we look at things. At times, it's the reflection of my child and seeing the father in them. And maybe I am having a bad day with your father, and I'm like, that is you just being your father, you know? And so what am I getting out of me? It's the anger that I would have probably passed on to your father. I'm not addressing the issues with you, I'm addressing something different. So as parents, I think we continuously also have to really, work. The children have to understand that at times what they see from their parents is truly not that, but they can't also be overly judgmental. You cannot be overly judgmental about your parents. Listen to them, understand them, know that they also have emotions, know that what they're sending out there is really what they can to their best abilities. Listen to your parents. Even though you want to take a totally, completely different career, I don't think that the basics in life, if you want to be a doctor and your mother is Mama Mboga, she has her practice that she does every day. She probably wakes up in the morning to go to the market. So you who wants to be the doctor, you will have to wake up in the morning and go to the hospital and attend to people. So I do think that the basics in life, regardless of where we are, remain the same. I know that their parents would not listen.
Yeah, I was about to head there. I mean, you spoke about self-awareness, which I know you have done. Like you mentioned coaches who have walked with you through that journey. But I mean, being in Africa, being in Kenya, you are an outlier.
Mzazi ndiye ako right. It is always the parent who's right.
Before the parent says, I'm sorry. It doesn't happen in this house, but generally, because I interact with youth and young people, it's a hurdle.
Yeah.
So you end up raising people who believe that is right, and they're very hard. And the phrase as it goes, old dog, new tricks, very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's easier to nurture me and carve me into a particular way because I'm still very flexible in what I'm learning. But I believe by the time someone is a parent and they are raising a youth, someone who's above 18 years probably, they have lived life and they have their own biases, strengths or limitations, whatever it is that they really hold on to.
Yeah.
So how can we as children help them understand that it can be A, B, C, D, and how can parents also adjust? What can they do to adjust? Because for them it's unakumbuka kama nani akisema mwanaume ni kuparara.
Mwanaume afai kutengeneza kucha.
Afai kupaka mafuta, That's a belief that they have, and they're going to transfer to their son.
Yes.
But I mean, we are living in a generation where we have men who are doing skincare routines and they're making big money out of it.
Yes.
And it doesn't make them any less of a man.
Yes.
Lakini huyo baba kama atakuuliza tunafanya kazi gani ya kupaka mafuta kwa social media?
Atuweni makeup artist. I know that I think for parents what I would say is that even as parents, regardless of where you've come from and you're raising children, we continuously have to be in an unlearning and learning journey. Mm-hmm. And as I always say, you spoke earlier on about a reverse mentorship.
Yeah.
What I do, I cannot be so righteous and say what I do and how I'm raising you is the right way and it has to be my way. You as children also can direct me, but that directing me can only come with this trust that has been built. And you will tell me, this is what I am desiring. Can I help you with that? Again, I came from a generation where our parents had to choose our careers, for instance, So even as I am telling you this story where my mom told me, you need to go to college, I ended up taking her course.
Her course.
That was what I did. It was the course that she wanted me to take. And thank you very much, Mom, for pushing me. But of course, over time, I have adjusted to do what I am truly passionate about, So now I know there's still parents who are guiding their children in terms of career path, but also, as you say, there is really no limitation. We cannot limit our children to say, my child has to take this specific career, because you want your child to live for you. And I even have, a case of a young man who was going to the campus, and when I spoke to him the last time, he said, I'm just gonna go to campus, I'll take this course, finish it. At the end of the day, I want to be an actor, but I cannot tell. My father does not even know what being an actor is, despite the fact that he sits in front of a TV and is watching TV. He doesn't understand. So I'm gonna go. He's taking education. I will finish my course as a teacher, then I will start to pursue. So of course, there's a lot of time wasted. There's a lot of heartache that is being realized in that. I think that as parents, we also have to put ourselves in that space to acknowledge that we have limitations. But even when we have limitations, we also need to know that we can trust our children. But the children, on the other hand, have to be truthful. Now, I do think that there's a thing with very many teenagers to keep lying about things.
That is being a teenager.
That is being a teenager.
Yeah.
And you're lying so that you can get out of trouble. But as you grow, and I know that there are so many lies you told me, but you probably tell me less lies now. You tell me less lies now.
Mommy, you don't lie.
But
now I don't lie.
Now you don't lie, but you lied in the past to get
away
with
mlikuwa mmenifunga kama kuku. Jamani, my curfew was at 5:30. Kuna siku nilikuja nyumbani 5:35 nikaambiwa niandike composition. What I was doing outside 5 minutes. Surely. Hata kuku inaingia kwa nyumba 6
That's what I'm saying. We continuously unlearn. That's how we felt the safe space was for us as your parents. We did not do that with bad intention. So if your mom is telling you can't do this, if your dad is telling you can't do this, also take time to understand where they're coming from. They're probably expressing their fears on you, their insecurities. Maybe something happened to them and they have not been able to go through that process of healing, and so all they're doing is projecting the insecurities to you as a child. At times they're genuinely caring and they want the best for you, but I think that as a child, your space is to honor your parents. That is what the Bible commands of you. I believe that's what other religions command of you. You need to honor your parents. Honoring your parents might just mean that you are having to wait a little bit longer. If you wanted to connect out with your friends and you know that you can't do that now when you're still under the care of your parents, that time will come. That time will come. Really, truly, there's nothing you lose. I remember when I was growing up, my mom was like, hiyo carnival itakuwa tu. Carnival hakuna mahali naenda. Is it carnival still there?
And you still told me the same.
And I told you the same, but isn't it there?
It's still there.
It's still there.
That's no longer interests me.
It no longer interests you.
Yeah.
Probably not unless you're going there to eat,
Yeah, just to eat.
Maybe not
Events,
to party or I don't know what,
Really.
So I grew up in that generation when they used to have these big shows, and everybody was at the carnival and my mom wouldn't allow me to go and I would be like, I'm the only one who's gonna miss out. But the truth is carnival is there. It's still gonna be there.
Yeah.
So I do think that understand your parent as a child and continuously have conversations. And for us as parents, we will also endeavor to learn from you. I think there's now a lot of information about parenting because the old styles of parenting will probably not work in this generation that we are raising, the children that we are raising right now.
Bold and intentional children.
Bold and intentional children. And when we say we want our children to be expressive, we want our children to have confidence, that has to start from the home. If you're always shattering and quiet.
You're here to be seen, not to be heard.
You're here to be seen, not to be heard. You don't have space to be able to express yourself. You can't go out there and be an overnight success.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It has been a whole journey. You don't wake up confident like I am in the way I deliver.
Mm-hmm.
There's an investment that was made into me.
Yeah.
There's a relationship that we have built. You don't wake up wealthy. You don't wake up with a good body.
Mm-hmm.
Always the journey to transformation, from what I've learned from you generally, it's a process. Sometimes, especially the beginning phase, is very painful.
Yeah.
That transformation,
change.
Yeah, it's a lot of discomfort. But the minute you hit the maximum level of pain
Yeah.
that you can get through, then something begins to happen. That's what I was telling Bella, because I go with Auntie Bella to the same gym.
Yeah.
I was telling her, acha tu animalize ni sawa. Like, let me just feel that pain. So then I get to my breaking point. You get to your breaking point, and then there's no other way to go beyond going up.
Yeah.
Then suddenly it becomes a norm in your life. So in this journey of boldly and intentionally, haitakuwa rahisi.
It's not easy,
but it's
and
possible.
it's possible.
Yeah.
And I think so long as you do not give up and you call on your maker to continue to give you guidance, number one, because truly we are nothing without our maker. But also seeking the right help. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Again, in terms of the thought process, as we earlier said, if all you sit around with people, they're like, hey, that is hard.
Or your circle has a huge influence.
So I think that, especially for you younger people, who are you hanging out with? We are truly a product of our 5 people that we hang around with.
That's true. How do you pick them?
You have to be ready to keep dropping.
Yeah, because I'm always
Keep shedding. Do not get attached to friendships. Do not get attached to relationships that do not have value. I think you have to know when your friendship or your relationship season is over and you move to the next one. Yeah. This does not apply to marriage though, unfortunately. So that's why you have to take your time before you get into marriage.
How do you pick a right partner? No, let's start with friendships, because those ones are really important. We'll have another episode.
Right partner will come at needs a whole episode, so we can't talk about partnerships here. But I do think that truly when it comes to friendships, there's that, again, it boils down to the burning desire. If I'm continuously hanging out with you and I'm feeling like, what was our interest in the past? Probably we wanted to go out, hanging out, clubbing.
Yeah.
And now I have transformed. I no longer enjoy clubbing because I think every time we go clubbing, first of all, I'm going to come back very broke. I have a hangover to nurse in the morning.
I can't deliver on what I need to do.
I can't deliver on what I need to do. And the people that I have, the only conversation we get to have with them is about
what are we doing?
Which is the latest club in town, So that stops to be my burning desire at that point. So I have to drop the people.
But it's a painful process, because I have had to go through that. Well, as I adult in my child 20s, where you truly love your friend, you had a lot of fun with them, and you're still capable of having fun, but you are pacing out. And when you start to become intentional, that is the one thing that becomes so clear.
Yeah.
That you are going maybe at a faster pace than they are in this journey of seeing you, not being a better version than another human being, but a better version of yourself. And then it gets to a point where you have to say, I love you, but I can't carry you along on this journey.
Yeah.
And you have to close that season. Then suddenly, like a few months later, someone else comes along. Then when that purpose is done, close it.
Yeah.
Is there a way to hold another person's hand and walk with them?
And that's something you continuously must do. You have
no choice. Not ready for it? Because I have found people who are not yet ready for it.
So if they're not ready for it, you will find those that are ready for it. So it means you have to shed, but as you journey up, you have to lift someone up. Because otherwise, when you go up the stairs, there's some parts that you will leave. So there's this narrative that I have used. As you go up, make sure that somebody else is there to move up with you.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'll go so up, and then when you're that high, you will drop, and it's going to be a painful drop. But imagine if you had a sister that you walked with in each and every staircase you have. If there's a place, like it always happens with us in life, that you have to go back, then your going back will not be so painful, because you will find the right people that will be able to support you. So the person you started with at the bottom will probably not be the person that you get on the top with. But you will have been able to get other people within that level that you're rising. And then as you grow others, somebody else will be left behind to help them grow. It's probably not your job. Not unless they're willing, not unless you're walking the same path. If you find a person that you're walking the same path, it is okay to walk with them.
How do you differentiate? How do you tell the difference between a friend or partner, friends in this case, who is for you to walk with, to the next phase, and one who is you need to shed them off?
It's the kind of conversations you have, it's the kind of interests that you share, it's the energy that you give each other. As you know, Bella says, if that energy isn't matching your energy, then that's a time to drop it.
Yeah.
And we take time to realize that. Now, you should not be so quick to say, this energy doesn't match my energy, you know. So I think you have to go through the process of really understanding who is my friend, and you know, how are we working. You don't always have to drop everyone. You know, you have those friends you probably will speak once in 6 months. Yeah. It doesn't mean that you are not connecting anymore, you've dropped them. It just means that you're pursuing your different paths. And then where there is need, you will always connect at that point where there is need. You don't become enemies, basically.
Yeah.
You know? But at that phase you are in, if your current desire is to achieve a certain goal, and the person that you're close to is not able to lead you through that path, it means you cannot continue. Or there are the people that every time you meet with them, they're always asking you, I don't think that's the right direction, you know. But that does not mean that you don't need accountability partners. Again, coming to accountability partners, you have somebody you've sat down, you've discussed. In 2024, I am going to add muscle. And then for me to add muscle, I need to
eat healthy.
eat healthy. Then the person that you're hanging out with will be like, hey, me, I'm feeling like KFC. Am I helping you grow?
No.
I am not helping you grow.
Yeah.
So you also have to work with a person who helps you in that particular journey. Does that mean that I'm a bad person? It doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. We can connect on something else. Perhaps our connection will not only be on your body goals. You're looking for a job. Who do you need for that job? What kind of job do you need? If I am a doctor and you're looking for a job to be an architect, what sort of conversations can we have in terms of career growth? But if you specifically want a person who's helping you achieve your medical dream, then you have to hang around with people with similar interests.
Yeah.
So that's for me how I look at it, that you will continuously be making new friends. And I do not think that our brain's capacity comes to an end in terms of the number of people that we can connect with.
Yeah.
So you will always connect with new people. You might not have time for everyone as you connect with them, as you probably reduce your engagement with others, but you will still keep them somewhere else. There's probably something they're going to be relevant for. Yeah. So that's how I look at it. But there are those ones you completely have to drop because, hey, this one, energy. Every time I sit with her, by the time I'm getting up, I'm like,
you're drained.
I am so drained.
Yeah.
This is not where I want to be.
You feel like less of a human being.
And that's not the kind of person that you want to be around with,
yeah,
you know.
That's true.
And maybe they've gone, something has happened in their lives, and they're feeling they're superior than you. You know, they're not challenging you positively.
Not even that. I think for me, my aha moment for one of the seasons that I had to shed off was because I have been continuously working on myself. And then I was having a conversation. Then this person went like, I know you, you're A, B, C, D. And I was like, no, this person really doesn't know me. I have evolved. You knew me.
Yeah.
You don't
know who I am now. Yeah.
And that was such a sad moment internally, but an aha moment. Like, get up and get
time to change direction.
Time to change. Like, this person, you know, you continuously say, I am doing, and you know, they will celebrate you. They will celebrate with you. Oh, congratulations, you got this. Congratulations. But then you think deeply about it when you're having, because it was such a subconscious thing that came out.
Yeah.
I know you. I'm like, no.
You don't know.
You really don't know me.
Yeah.
Which was such a, God.
Yeah.
No, I have to leave this.
Yes.
But anyway, that is part of transforming ourselves.
That's part of transformation, because transformation means, like, you know, peeling that onion.
Yeah.
Continuously peeling that onion, and as you peel the onion, you're encountering different things. The layers are different. Others are thick, others are thin. So it's gonna be different at every phase that you go through, and what your desires are.
Yeah. and takes you've got to be bold, because I mean that is when you have got, hence bold and intentional, because you're being intentional, but then the bold part comes in when you have to make really the right but tough decisions for yourself, because you have to keep on to your own way.
Yes, the tears will always be part of
Tears.
this. That is something that we cannot forget. We will
Yeah.
continuously have the tears around us, and it is okay. They could be tears of joy, they could be tears of pain, and it doesn't have to be sad.
Yeah.
It just needs to be different stage.
Yeah. That's
Embrace it. So I do think that you have to push yourself, but most importantly, again, enjoying the journey of life.
Yeah.
You can't be like,
Panda mlima kama mimi. Enjoy that hike.
Hakuna formula. Hapo ndiko box uko tu ni hapa.
We all have an expiration date.
East, west, yes, we all have an expiration date.
Yeah, so have fun.
But you have to have fun with life.
Yeah.
You have to really have fun with life. But do the right things. Do what you know. If you stood out there in the streets, you would not be afraid for someone to know what it is that you're doing. Hapa chini alafu ni God manze.
Ni God manze.
God manze. No, we don't want those parts. We need to do things we are proud of. We need to do things that we can share. If somebody's meeting up with you and they're asking you, tell me your story, you can truly tell your story. Yeah. Ni God manze.
You can explain how you got the wealth you have.
Yes, you can explain your journey.
Your journey, yeah.
You can explain your journey. You can demonstrate that it has truly taken hard work. You have woken up in the morning, you have put in the work, and putting in the work smart, because working hard
is not enough.
It needs to be smart.
Yeah.
Yes, you need to work hard. It needs to be smart.
The goal is not to go to the grave tired.
Oh yes.
No, it's to leave a legacy, a beautiful one,
where
you create a balance.
Yes.
All right. Thank you guys for watching this. Thank you, Mommy.
You're welcome.
For coming.
Thank you for having me.
Boldly and intentionally. How was your experience? You're always behind the scenes.
I'm always behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. Today I was here facing the camera.
You did a very good job. I'm proud of you.
Thank you for having me.
Guys, please like, subscribe and share. I'm only gonna swali for me.
Sina swali for you.
Nakonga to the perfect daughter.
Tutakuja episode.
Guys, please like, subscribe and share. Would you like to see her here again, and what would you want us to address? Is this content informing you and helping you in your journey to transform your life boldly and intentionally? Let us know in the comment section. Share this with whoever might need it.
Like, subscribe, and share.
And leave a comment.
Yeah. Yes. Always welcoming your feedback.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.